So, what do you guys want to talk about?
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother. Put out the caution tape. Put out the orange cones. Acknowledge me.
It's Monday, and you know what that means. We are Canada's newest wrestling radio show, and we are A+ Wrestling. A+ Wrestling would not be possible without amazing tag team partners like Tio Boat Tours. Tio Boat Tours, Ontario premier boat tour experience where adventure meets relaxation on the stunning waters of Canada's most beautiful lakes and rivers in Ontario. That's TioBoatTours.com. This show is part of the A+ Productions and A+ Wrestling Podcast Networks, and now we are part of the KPHR family. That's Cat Power Hit Radio. We are more than just a weekly show, and we have a slew of shows for you each and every single week here on the A+ Productions and A+ Wrestling Podcast Network, where we talk sports, entertainment, then we bring it all together to talk some sports entertainment, also known as wrestling. You can find us on any podcasting platform as A+ Productions, but if you really just want to listen to the wrestling shows, you can find us as A+ Wrestling on any of those podcasting networks. We can be found online at aplusproductions.com, and we are even on all of the social medias at A+ Productions. If you want to be part of the conversation, the best part for that is Facebook, and for that, all you need to do is go to facebook.com and search for A+ Productions. I am Boris Roberto Aguilar, and we have a busy week yet again, because this week and over the next 8 days, I think might be one of the busiest, most packed, and important weekends of wrestling in a long time. And for that, I'm not going to be talking alone. I'm bringing in a tag team partner. He is the producer of Demand Lucha. That's Hutch Henry's. Hutch, how's it going?
I'm part of the slew. I'm slewing.
You're slewing.
I'm part of the cat. Yes, I'm part of the Cat Power slew, and I'm part of the slew of shows happening this weekend. We're talking Evolution. We've got NXT. We've got, of course, Saturday night's main event, and All In, probably the biggest show of the year for AEW, maybe of all time. That's what I'm saying, right? I think it's the biggest show ever.
I think of all time, but we're going to be talking about that and so much more, including this counter-programming deal that WWE is doing. Is it working? Can it hurt the brand? We're going to be talking about so much more on top of that and previewing all of the wrestling. But before all of that, we're going to need to take a break here on KPHR, and you're listening to A+ Wrestling.
This is Joseph Vendetti from Barbarian Bar Fitness, your source for Canadian-made functional fitness equipment built for the grind. Pro wrestling doesn't take an off-season. It's 52 weeks of punishing work in and out of the ring. That's why we designed versatile, battle-tested gear to help you train harder, recover smarter, and stay ready for the spotlight. Our mission? To empower wrestlers, coaches, and athletes with equipment that elevates your performance and amplifies your impact. Visit barbarianbarfitness.com and unleash your potential.
This is my brutality!
And we are back here on KPHR, and you're listening to A+ Wrestling. I am Boris, and I am still here with Hutch. He hasn't ran just yet, but he might by the end of this hour. Hutch, we have so much to talk about. I think we're going to kick things off talking about AEW All In. And you said it at the top of the show. Is this the biggest show for AEW in their short history? Thoughts on that?
You know what? I don't really know. I haven't given that much thought myself. Like for me, it was just another show. And let's talk about where AEW is at right now. Viewership wise, attitude of the fans wise. Is this the biggest show they could have right now where they're at? Is All In Texas with like how many tickets is old? Do you know? Are we over 20,000?
About 20,000.
is this the biggest show of all time? Like, they started with All In at 10,000 on a bet, right? Yeah. And that was so is this the biggest show of all time? Maybe. Tony Khan is playing with his soldiers, that's for sure. You got Monet and you got Tony Storm. Like, that's the apex. It's like the number one match they could do in that division. But where's it going to go from there? Is it the fact that it's on title on Monet's side? Does that mean anything? Does that make it predictable? Does it make it unpredictable? I mean, I don't know. And like I was saying last time I was on the show, even though anybody who had the tenacity to listen through with the bad mic sound, I had mentioned at one point that the sentiment behind the scenes is that the Death Riders is working, and it's working well. So for them, maybe this is the biggest show, because Hangman is certainly the main character of AEW going against what they think is a very successful heel faction. So maybe if you were a sicko, this is the biggest show of all time for you. But for me, who's like kind of fallen off the sicko bandwagon, I don't know if it's the biggest show ever, but I'm certainly interested, and I'm going to tune in.
There you go. I think that's a perfectly respectable answer there, my friend. But here's the thing. Is it their biggest show ever? Quite possibly, but I think it's their most important show in what I'm dubbing the summer of AEW. You know, earlier in the year, before we hit KPHR, we were talking about kind of, the fan sentiment with AEW, and it wasn't really that positive. You know, I think a lot of people are really high on WWE. I know even Dax, who's part of the A+ family, went back to watching some WWE after like a 10-year absence for many reasons. You know, a lot of people were loving what was going on in WWE land and in AEW, right? Like, I think it was, attendance was hurting. The shows weren't that great. Everything seemed to be just not on a positive trajectory. But I would have to say, since the beginning of the year, and especially since a lackluster WrestleMania, AEW has turned things around, and they've gone laser focused. Yeah, I'm talking corporate speak, and they're focusing on their business, and their business, as you say, is for the sickos. Their business is, for the wrestling fans. We're the best wrestle. Blah 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 blah. Right? So yes, I do think that right now is probably the most important time for AEW, and this being the summer of AEW heading into All In, I think it is an important show for them. Biggest? Probably not, but I think it's the most important show because this is where, they lay out the cards, they show us their hands, they show us what they got, and then
they're all in, right?
They're all in. There you go.
Exactly.
Love that you picked it up.
Is this the AEW WrestleMania, or is Double or Nothing WrestleMania? Like, what do you think?
So I think originally it was Double or Nothing, but over the past few years, especially this being the stadium show, this being in London coming out to watch AEW, I think that All In has turned into the WrestleMania of AEW.
And with the purchase of ROH and getting the original footage from the first All In, even though there's some ne'er-do-wells on that show and things like that, I think it really is their WrestleMania. So like, is this their WrestleMania 9? Is this their WrestleMania, like, what was the shitty one? Like, you know what I mean? Is this the one where, like, it really is okay? I don't know if that was a good, I don't know if that was a good, comparison, but I will give them the fact that I feel this is a little bit unpredictable. I feel like Triple H's booking has been predictable up till now, and I was going to say overall predictable, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with a few matches upcoming this weekend, so I don't want to say that. But I feel like this AEW show is kind of, I don't know what's going to happen. Is Darby going to come back? Is he not going to come back? Is he going to win? Is he going to cash? Is Hangman going to win? Is Monet going to win? Is Storm going to win? I almost wish that, I think it's Ospreay and Swerve are together, right, in a match against Takeshita and Fletcher.
Against the Young Bucks. Against the Young Bucks. I was literally staring at things in front of my face.
See, like, I'm just going off of what I feel like where it might have been going. I actually didn't watch this week, but of course, now that you mention it, the Young Bucks, that's where they're at right now. See, I have no idea what's going to happen with that match. Is it going to be, can they coexist? I mean, I think they are coexisting. So are they going to screw up and start hating each other? Are they going to win? Are they going to not win? I mean, the EVP thing is on the line, right? So they're probably going to lose because of that, but I don't know. A million things could happen. I have no idea. So that's that's where I'm interested in this show this weekend, is to see what people think, to watch the matches, see what goes on. And I would assume that it's going to be like 5 hours long, and there's probably a ton of matches we don't know about. Like, what else is happening on this show?
Yeah, so right now we have about 8 matches in total that have been announced, but you know that typically speaking, they're like having 11, 12 matches, this being All In. I can see that being the case. Plus, you have 0 Hour, which nothing's been announced for just yet. But, you know, we do have 2 Casino Gauntlet matches that could go for a while. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see where they go. But, yeah, like, this is an important show for AEW. Like, regardless of whether you think it's the biggest, the most, like, or most important, or what have you, you know, this is an important show for AEW, especially as the sentiment towards WWE right now is becoming a little more negative, right? It kind of feels like we're back in 2020 where, you know, AEW can do no wrong, but WWE is doing all wrong.
Yeah, that definitely is. You were mentioning sentiment. That definitely is the sentiment in a lot of ways. And, you know, if I'm a sicko, if I'm an AEW, you know, stalwart, I love this stuff, I'm looking for the matches. You know, Tony Khan does pay-per-view right. People sometimes criticize his builds, his time periods. Some things build quick and then fall off. And, you know, but if you're following the stories, if you're an AEW mark, if you're involved in everything and paying attention all the time, you know, these people, they're the ones who come at you and tell you, well, no, he did this on this date, and that's why this and that. So obviously it doesn't matter to those people. But Tony Khan does pay-per-view right. The only problem it seems to be is that it's a little too long for some people. If he can tighten it up a bit, you know, the work rate is there, and that's what people tune in for on these shows. And I guess, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with this main event? Is Hangman going to win? Is the Death Riders going to go on? I mean, that's what every fan has a different opinion. Everybody wants Hangman to win, but is it really the right thing? It would just deepen his character and his like silent resentment, and like, God, he's been just beaten up so much and he's such a sad cowboy. You know, it's like, it would just make it go deeper. So yeah, is it like, you know, I can't remember what the question was that led into this, but yeah, it's the biggest show. It could very well be the biggest show for them ever. I think I asked you what other matches were happening.
Yeah, we'll run down through the card, but right before that, I have a question for you, right? You produced Demand Lucha. You're a wrestling fan. When you watch these shows, what hat do you wear? Do you watch it as a fan? Do you watch it as someone who puts on shows? Like, that's something I've always been curious about.
You know, I don't pay attention to the production. You know, I'm not sitting here scrutinizing it and scrutinizing their camera angles and things like that. I really just enjoy it for the matches. I think, funny enough, more than anything, I probably, if I take a hat other than a fan, because I'm often doing other things and working. AEW is you can watch it on a side screen and it pulls you in, and you know, with which matches count to you and don't, and whatnot. WWE is almost easier to do with that because there's so much talking and commercials, and they really, you know, it's like the TV. I hear that they produce TV shows now for because they know people aren't actually paying attention, so they do a lot of exposition and saying, "Hey, this thing in my hand that I've picked up again." And, you know, so I feel like WWE does that more. So maybe AEW pulls me in and makes me more of a fan because I have to watch, because it, like, you know, it moves so fast and there's so much adventure. But if I watch it as anything other than a fan, it's kind of as a promoter. Like, the things I judge are, did you put this match on because you're a mark or because it was the right thing to do? Is this match going on too long? Are they doing the same spots as the match before? Are like, I've been backstage at AEW shows, and it's like, dude, it's like very similar to like my shows. It's just like I was within 10 feet, maybe less, of Tony Khan for a large period of time. You know, she's just there at the like soundboard and at the desk, and everybody's walking around and walking up to him, and it's just like complete chaos. People are everywhere. It's very interesting, and I'm sure, and it comes across in the product in that way. But I judge it that way. I judge it as, what would I be doing if I was backstage running this show and in charge of like what was going out of the curtain and coming back. You know, and I don't judge the botches. I don't judge anything really other than that. And besides that hat, I really watch wrestling as a fan. I'm kind of lucky. I talked to a few people who take it a lot more seriously than me, and they don't even run their own promotion. So I'm kind of lucky that I can enjoy wrestling, because I enjoy all wrestling. You want to talk Japanese wrestling, you want to talk Mexican wrestling, you want to talk midget, you want to talk about those weird like Chilean ladies with the dresses. Like, let's go. Let's talk about it all.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. You know, the mud pits in Congo. Let's talk. I love all wrestling.
Same here, my friend. All right, let us run through the AEW All In card, July 12th in Houston, Dallas, Texas. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Like I say, it's this heat. This heat is killing me. But let's talk AEW All In. Let's start with the match that I clearly couldn't read. Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. If the Young Bucks lose, they lose their EVP titles. If Strickland and Ospreay lose, they can't challenge for the world title for a year. Boom, boom, boom. Thoughts on that?
So wait, if Swerve or Ospreay lose this match, neither of them individually can challenge for the world title for a year. That's right. I do remember that stipulation now. See, I feel like there's so much wrestling happening this weekend with the counter programming, which we'll talk about, as well as things happening in my personal life. And when I kind of have dropped, like I forgot that this was even a match. I thought it was Takeshita and Fletcher. I'm sure they're going to be doing something too. Is it like, was Okada taking on Takeshita? I think that's one of the matches, isn't it? Am I crazy?
No, Okada, okay. It's and Kenny.
Okay. Let's go, Okada. Oh, that's right, for the combination. See, that's a big match. That could even be the main event. How can you believe that I forgot about that? And that's the pacing I was talking about before. We haven't seen them on TV. Anyways, I won't get into that. But I did mention Tony Khan's pacing of building storylines. See, I'd kind of forgotten about that match. But it seems like I've forgotten about all of the matches if we really put the brass tacks to it. But that's a very interesting stipulation. I kind of think the Bucks are going to lose the EVP, but then they could just be like, well, we're now in charge of this or that. And that's a weird stipulation for the guys to have. All right. Since I haven't thought about this show a lot, I'm going to have to go on the fly. I think that Ospreay and Swerve will lose. We haven't seen the Bucks in a while, like in the ring. They're going to want to win. The loss for Ospreay and Swerve can lead into tension with Hangman. The friendship that's building, the fact that they now can't get what they want to get. If Hangman ends up winning the title, then there's resentment there and other things, as well as perhaps blaming each other. Who knows how the finish will come together? So, without babbling on, which I seem to be very good at, we will just say that I think Swerve and Ospreay are going to lose this match.
Interesting thoughts. I'm gonna have to go. I'm just to play devil's advocate, just to make the show a little interesting. I'm gonna go with the Young Bucks losing, and they lose their EVP titles. Because again, right, the whole evil promoter, evil EVP, evil vice president, or whatever, what have you. It's been done. It's been done for the past 30 plus years, and I think that this is a good way to end it. Where do they go from there after? Who knows? And honestly, I'm not even thinking of the future too much after this show, and we'll talk on that a little bit later as well. But I
think you have to with this match.
We will talk about it, and we will. Okay. I'll put some thought into it. But I do think that it's time to drop the whole EVP, the evil EVP title stuff going on. It's overdone, it's overplayed, and it's just boring, lazy TV at this point. That's just how I see things. So I'm gonna have to say that the Bucks are gonna lose. Ospreay and Strickland will win.
Okay. I don't think there's anywhere to go from here. For Ospreay and Swerve, they can play off the loss depending on how the finish goes, and the EVP thing can just go on a bit longer. I mean, they can obviously begin using that power a bit more. You've still got till the rest of the year. You've got all the way till World's End. They love to do groundbreaking stuff at World's End. I think the EVP thing might have some more legs, especially if they start winning. Like if Kenny wins this title, or Okada, I don't know. Like the Bucks are weird, right? They can start glad handing Kenny. They could do weird things. I think they still have some legs with the EVP thing, and it's better for Swerve and Ospreay to lose. But hey,
well. You might be right? Swerve Strickland and Ospreay. Here's the thing. If they lose, they can't challenge for the world title. But that doesn't mean you can't challenge for the international or the unified title, which Kenny Omega and Okada are going at it, right? And that, to me, right, I've seen people talking, some hearsay and whatnot, where they really want to push that as a 1B title.
Well, I mean, if the Hurt business ends up losing to Speedball and Knight, then you've got Bobby Lashley, you've got Maxwell Jacob Friedman, you've got Darby Allin coming back, you've got Hangman, you've got the Death Riders, you have a world title scene, so that gives an excuse for Swerve and Ospreay not to be chasing that title. They have no choice but to not chase that title. So, like, I'm just saying, putting on that hat, the non-fan hat that I told you is basically the only other hat, even though I produce wrestling more as an editor and as talking with guys about how they're going to word promos and how they're the actual nuance of what I judge the most is the thing I do the least at Demand Lucha with my partner. I'm involved in that, but funny enough, I judge where we're going to go from here and how the booking is going to go forward.
Yeah.
So,
and
I think there's more legs the other way.
Yeah, and oftentimes that's even more important, right? And here's the thing: wrestling fans sometimes they're a funny creature. We're all funny creatures in the sense that I've noticed, especially recently, everyone likes to book in their brain, right, where things are going to go for that particular show. And I've noticed oftentimes wrestling fans get angry if things aren't booked the way that they booked it in their brain, but they don't take the time to take a step back and just let things play out.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's what you get the judgments from Triple H, and you get the people that they call neckbeards in the IWC. Like, that's the problem with wrestling being so, non-kayfabe anymore. And it's only going to get worse with shows like Unreal or whatever the new behind-the-scenes show is. It gives people that opportunity. Combine that with social media, everybody's a critic, which is why I like to not judge that harshly, unless we want to talk about Jade Cargill. I try to relax a little bit about stuff and enjoy what comes. And in fact, I try to look at it almost like if I was a comic book writer, I don't like what happens this weekend at All In. And I'm like, oh man, that was a shitty issue okay, that was an okay issue of AEW. Man, it was long. Holy moly. That was a double size mega issue of All In this year. But I like some of the stuff that happens. And then the phone rings and they're like, hey, Jay, guess what? Buddy's moving on. We want you to do the next 12 issue arc of AEW. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. How would I go forward from here? So I try and sometimes things hit me, when Cody lost the first time at WrestleMania, I didn't know how to feel for a while. Like everybody else, I was like, but I think out of all my close friends, I was the first one to be like, okay, what do we do from here? And that's how I try to look at it. And I think all of you out there, if you're listening, if you're enough of a mark to be listening to this show, then please try not to be too much of a mark and get angry about stuff. You only have one life to live. Enjoy it and try and just figure out what you would do next. Okay.
And have fun with it. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
No need to get angry.
It's a booking committee, right? This year, unfortunately, it's not Vince McMahon. Your life is WCW, and you have a booking committee, and sometimes it doesn't go the way you want. And the next week, they're asking your opinion. And you're like, well, this is what I would do now. So try and look at it that way.
All right, we have a women's casino gauntlet match. So far, we have Chris Statlander as the only announced participant. I can't really say too much more about that match until we know more people in it. But we also have a men's casino gauntlet match with Mark Briscoe, MJF, and more.
And more, that's all it says? All right, Well, I got to go with Chris Statlander is my pick. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with either Mark Briscoe or MJF. There, done.
Right, honestly? I honestly do think Chris Statlander deserves a push at this point. I think this would be great. I think having some new blood in that main event scene for the women's title would be great. And on the men's side, honestly, someone who's kind of been coasting. I haven't liked this whole Hurt Business stuff with MJF, but I will say that ever since he has joined, he's been interesting again. And he needs a little, I don't know what. So I think MJF is going to win the men's casino gauntlet match.
In the female one, we've got the Spider Lady. What's her name? Tekla. You've got Megan Bain. You've got some stuff going on. There's some heavy hitters in there, but who knows what's going to go on with that. And I don't know who's going to win with the Gauntlet men's match. I don't know who's in it, but you're correct. We could just move straight on to Hurt Business here and like the tag match, because I don't really want to talk about how I feel about MJF in the Hurt Business, because I would take up another 20 minutes of the podcast and go all the way back to the beginning of the year with Jeff Jarrett. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. Like when I started playing comic book writer, what do I do next if I got given this issue? My Jeff Jarrett thing was wicked. And unfortunately, I did go Mark route where I was like, man, they didn't do any of the shit I came up with. And I came up with a couple of cool things. I'm like, wow, where are they going to go with this Jeff Jarrett thing? Like, these could be some of the things. I started coming up with stuff, but they didn't do any of that shit. And then he joined the Hurt Business. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, don't make me go on a freaking Cargill rant here about the Hurt Business thing, because we'll take up too much time. But not that I think it's bad. You're right. It's interesting.
To me, it's the turn the TV off, switch the channel type of stuff. If I wasn't doing slam reports for AEW, which I don't do too often anymore, I'm mainly on Impact now. Yeah, I wouldn't be watching it if I didn't have to.
Well, you know what? I've been watching WWE since WrestleMania. I don't think I've missed very much of it, but yeah, I think the MJF Hurt Business thing, it kind of turned me off of AEW. I was talking to one of my friends, and I mentioned something about WWE. He was like, yeah, ever since The Rock didn't show up at WrestleMania, I kind of tuned out of WWE. And a lot of people like that, it killed them. I don't think they realized how much that killed their business, and then came in all the criticism for Triple H. For me, with AEW, and I'm realizing I haven't been watching that much lately, and if I really want to unpack it, I think I started to lose interest when I was like, what was that Jeff Jarrett shit about? Like, and what's going on with this Hurt Business stuff? And like, Jesus, what the hell is with the Death Riders? And I was just like, like, dude, like I'll take up another 20 minutes talking about just one or two aspects of the Death Riders, like, and the undisputed Paragon, like whatever, and Cole and everything, like all of that should break up. Like, I think Roderick Strong should be in the Death Riders alongside his wife, like a little gremlin, like freaking with the Steiner pose, and she takes the Scott Steiner pose, and he's like, he's on the ground, and like, imagine him in there. Like, get rid of Wheeler Yuta. Put Roderick Strong in there as if with the horn rimmed glasses and the dyed hair and the blonde hair in there as a little fucking gremlin working with these guys and suplexing everybody around. That's the Death Riders I want to see. If I got to deal with the booking the way it's been going, switch out Wheeler Yuta for that shit and have the Paragon do something else. Like poor Kyle O'Reilly, but I guess his health has kept him down. But anyways, exactly. Let's go on. Hurt Business
AEW Tag Team Championship match. Yeah. The Hurt Syndicate versus Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight.
You know what? I think they're going to change the title. I think that's the Tony Khan type booking. They're going to change the title. They might do something. I mean, Bobby needs to move up. This gives him an opportunity to move into the world title scene if necessary, or the both of them, or I don't know. I think the Hurt Business has a lot of legs. I have small interactions with them on a personal basis. Bobby Lashley, MVP, sat in on commentary with me once and then didn't remember it. And then I was at where I met you at the Chris Van Vliet freaking thing. And I think that was back when he was drinking a lot, which is probably why he even said yes to sitting in on commentary. And now that I really think about it, I'm like, okay. But I'm listening to that interview with Van Vliet. Like, I think they have legs, and I think they're cool fucking dudes, and they deserve it. And they could bring it all to a different place, like a different vibe. But I think they're just going to lose the titles, and maybe that different vibe can happen. Maybe they can move on to other things.
Yep. That's what I'm thinking as well. I think it is time for them to drop the titles and do cool new stuff in AEW. But we'll see. Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight as champs? Sure. Why not? Stranger things have happened. All right.
With Tony Khan, he'll probably just put the trios title on all three of them. We're like, we'll see what happens from here at MJF and all this stuff. And in a month and a half, they're going to be the trios champs, just the three of them.
I'm still shocked that Cedric Alexander's in Impact and not AEW.
Might have to do with his wife, with Big Swole. Who knows what it has to do with?
That's what I'm thinking. All right, AEW International Championship and Continental Championship unification match. Kenny Omega versus Okada. This one has a lot of pressure, man. I think the fans are having too high of expectations for this match. I think, again, I love talking to the fans, and I'm a fan first and foremost. I just happen to talk into a mic, but I'm a fan first and foremost. And even I need to talk myself down, be a little more tranquilo, as I like to say, about this match, because this match has a ton of pressure behind it. For those who watch the Omega Okada trilogy from New Japan, it's you know what you're going to get with these two, but it's been 6 years or so, 7 years or so, right?
Yeah. And like I'm a New Japan guy. We're talking. I've been watching their ever since it was available in any fashion. I've been watching it. English commentary versions started getting me going. We're talking Matt Stryker days and freaking Don Callis days.
JR
with Jim Ross
calling
and guys off.
Wrestle Kingdom 10 was the first Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. So and I recall even watching 9, and I think I was just watched it with the Japanese commentary, and it was pretty awesome. I've been following this for a long time. I watched each match as it happened, and just recently I watched a highlight reel of all 3 matches and the best of it. It was a good 20 minutes, and that shit ain't happening this weekend. And it just they'll do something, and it's going to be great, and it might keep everybody happy and satisfied. But are there really marks out there that think it's just going to be even better than the other matches?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
You know that there are people out there thinking this. I'm sure on our Facebook group that there are people talking about this much. In fact, I'm going to pose this question after I post the show. What are your thoughts on Kenny Omega versus Okada this coming weekend? I want to hear from you. We'll talk about it next week on the show. But yeah, well, I honestly think that people. Here's the thing. I still think that this could be match of the night, match of the year contender, but it's not going to be at the level of their previous matches.
Yeah, I think Okada is still Japanese in his mind. He's 3-star Okada here in America. It doesn't matter. He's older. He's getting paid more. The honor of it all, the culture of it all. He's not dropping the ball in his homeland. But here, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's me being overly judgmental, and some extremely in touch or much more left person than me might say hey, that's even racist. But I feel like this isn't the Okada of old, and I don't think it's just age. I think it's just kind of the way it is here in America. A friend of mine I called him 3-star Okada. A friend of mine called him Great Value Okada or Timu Okada. He's just it's different, So I don't know, but I think it's going to be a good match. But if we're going to talk about the match, let's talk about the titles. What the unification? What's
the unified
calling it? The unified title. Do you think that's a good name? Do you think they're going to continue with that name?
I think it's a horrible name. It just doesn't. It doesn't even. It doesn't roll off the tongue. But I guess they kind of locked themselves in because it's the international, the continental. They probably don't want to use intercontinental. So yeah.
Yeah. But the Continental title doesn't have much of a lineage to it. The International title, I guess you can say it does. I mean, they've had a lot of good matches and good champs for the short period of time, really, that it's been around. And now you're unifying these titles, and we're going to have the C2 coming up. Are we going to give the Continental title to someone at the end of that, the same way we have with the last two? What the hell's going on here? I just think it's booking a little bit.
Yeah, it's weird. It's puzzling. And again, you're right, that they have said that they want to treat this as the 1B title. So, the sky's the limit. We'll see what happens. Who do you think is going to win?
I think this is Kenny's match to win.
Same. I agree. I do think that this is Kenny Omega's match to win. I think that this whole heel run of Okada might even come to an end. Take a couple weeks off. Come back as a face, rejuvenated Okada. I think that's what he needs here in AEW. Look, he's still having great matches. This past Wednesday with Ibushi was a friggin' great match. He still has it in him. I don't know. It's just not the same Okada as before.
There you go. Like I said, I didn't watch this last week, and I forgot about that match, and I don't even think I heard a review, so I'm sure it was all. I did hear somebody say that they were impressed because Ibushi, man, his last few appearances have been were
a little rough.
They were troublesome, to say the least. But I hear that he has bounced back in many fashions. So, yes, perhaps I was a little harsh on Okada. I didn't mean to call him 3-star Okada, but I think everybody knows my sentiment of where I was coming from there. It's been a little lackluster. And I'm really not one to judge, but I listen to a lot of reviewers, and like we were talking about sentiment. I see people on Twitter, wrestling Twitter, and there's a lot of people saying, dude, Stinkorama, what's going on, Okada? Kick it up a notch. So,
Right.
But I do think it's Kenny's match to win here. You new unified champ.
There we go. AEW Women's Championship match. Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. Only the AEW Women's Championship is on the line.
Do you think that this Moné is? Do you take her seriously, or is this all a joke to you? Like this whole belt collector thing?
I go up and down with her. At first, I did not like what she was doing. But then I believe it was later last year where she had a match with Chris Statlander, and it was excellent. And since then, she's had excellent matches. But I feel that the sentiment around Mercedes Moné and the, Hulk Hogan Moné and stuff like that, right? It's really started to take over and overshadow anything. Any good she does in AEW gets overshadowed by the fan sentiment on her. So this is kind of one of those times where, you have to agree with Triple H when he says, and Nick Khan, when they say they don't listen to the internet, right? They just do what they do and power through, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what my opinion of Moné is. Sometimes I think she's not her character, right? She's not her character, Hutch. She's not her character, Hutch. Yeah. And I look online, she's obviously the Beast Mortos, Frank. We've booked him. He is without a doubt one of the most stunningly beautiful human beings I've ever seen physically. One of the most stunningly beautiful human beings, like as a human that I've ever known. Yeah. He is so intelligent. They call him Frank the lawyer. He is a lawyer.
He is a lawyer.
I can see why Moné
passed his bar.
Oh yeah, man. Like I can see why Moné has fallen for this guy, and he deserves it. Like he's amazing. Like it's so funny that he wears this mask that is like absolutely revolting and disgusting, and it's almost like a joke. I mean, this guy is like freaking Fabio, dude.
For those people who have seen or haven't seen Beast Mortos without a mask, I say he's the Mexican Roman Reigns.
Dude, I love the gimmick, and I love him, and he's great, and he's a hell of a base, and it's just it's weird when you see Mexicans and Japanese guys come to America, and you realize like they're a little smaller than you expected. You're like, oh man, you're smaller. Like, and when Jeff Cobb is like in WWE, and I'm like, oh, you're so small. Yeah. I can't even do Tour of the Islands on half these guys.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll talk about that on another show because you hit the nail on the head there. Anyways,
it's weird, like we love him on the indies, but so Moné, like I don't know, and I think she was a little injury prone, and the ankle thing with Willow, and I think she might have been a little bit shook, and like the way they introduced her when she wasn't quite ready to go, and like. I think the Statlander match was the turning point for her, where she put enough pressure on her ankle and on herself, and she was all like, all right, I can do this. She's back. She shook the fear. She got thrown off her horse more than once, hurt herself, and finally she broke the horse again, and she's no longer afraid. She's not afraid her dog is going to bite her anymore. She's done it. And all of these titles, if she really could go around defending them all, that would be great. But what happens to the division if she wins? Like in many ways, they've sacrificed this entire division for Moné and Toni Storm now against her. Is Toni going to beat her? Like, I don't know if Toni knows how to build story in the way that continues matches. Like he can build some story where you're like, I can't wait for this match to happen. And he can book a rematch randomly, but he can't book like the match, the rematch, the rubber match, the trilogy. Like he's never been great at that. He's trying to do Okada Omega 4, even though they had their trilogy. It's like, I'm not sure if this match is going to be anything once it's said and done, but I'm sure the match will be great. And I have no bloody clue who's going to win at all.
I'm going to say,
I guess the non-title thing might,
Yeah.
It's good. I think you think like the non-title thing is because if Toni Storm wins, she doesn't need the TBS title. And
that's
she like, I don't know what to say.
Exactly. Here's the thing, right? You said it. If Mercedes Moné wins, they're essentially sacrificing the entire division and both titles on one person. And then what? What next? Right? Like that's my issue with Mercedes Moné winning. If Toni Storm wins, you got options. What are those options right now? I don't know, but you got options at least. I think if Mercedes Moné wins, you're really sacrificing the entire division, and this division has been damn good lately. I don't want to see it go down. People have talked so much stuff and ish about it, but this division is doing a lot better than it was even just a year ago, 2 years ago, what have you. But I do think that Toni Storm is going to win. All right, Hutch, we have one more match to chat about, then we're going to take a break. And that is AEW Men's Championship match. It is now a Texas death match. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Page. My number one question to you is, in how many minutes will Jon Moxley start bleeding in this match?
He'll pull a Goldberg. He'll come to the ring bleeding.
Already bleeding.
All right. He'll carry Von Erich. How many people? That's a good YouTube video. Like top 5 times guys have come to the ring bleeding. You've got Kerry Von Erich right with his arm.
Yep.
For Super Clash 3, you got Goldberg coming to the ring bleeding. I bet there's other times, right? The guys have come to the ring. They're like, oh goddamn, nursing something.
I'm sure Dusty's done it. I'm sure Flair's done it.
Yeah, I guess you could, if you want to stretch the list, it could be guys like coming out for the second time during the night, bleeding from earlier, and then here he comes down to the ring. But no, I think we know the sentiment. Sentiment is the word of the day. If this was PB's Playhouse, we'd all scream real loud. We understand the sentiment of what I mean there. But I think you're right. I think he's going to bleed pretty quick. They're both going to probably bleed like buckets. If Hangman don't get a syringe near him or any flames or whatnot, I think they're going to go balls to the walls. And the problem is, who is going to go balls to the walls before them? And will it matter by the end of it?
Exactly. That's the thing. And that's why I guess this match was turned into a Texas death match, because you have the women's championship match, you have the unification title match, probably going on before this. They need that extra oomph to really make it memorable and make sure that it is main event worthy. I'm doing air quotes for those of you watching or listening.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I'm pulling cornet face for people that might be watching, because I hate that they use Texas Deathmatch. It's not a Texas Deathmatch in AEW. Texas Deathmatch is you pinfall and then you got a 10 count to get back to your feet. And they do not do that. It's just basically a no DQ match, and they keep calling it a Texas Death Match. That it irritates me to no end. Like, you can't just, it like pollutes the timeline, man. It's like freaking so weird that they've done this. Like, for somebody that's such a mark and all the sickos, and like, you know what a Texas Death Match is, right? Like, why are you calling these matches Texas Death Match? This drives me nuts that they do this. And this is where I want to add it to the Cargill list. Like, you want to have let's go off, like, high blood pressure freaking conversation. This is one of the things that, like, I try not to be a mark about. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's just wrestling. It doesn't matter. But I mean, you can't just change the name of it. So anyways, yes, they're going to bleed buckets. The question is, who's going to win? How are they going to win? Why are they going to win? What do you think?
Oh, man, this one's crazy. I think Darby Allin is somehow leaving Texas as champion. I don't know why. That's honestly what I think.
Okay, not what you want to happen. What do you think is actually going to happen? What do I think
is going to happen? I think Jon Moxley's winning. My heart of hearts, my gut of guts, as we say here on A Plus Wrestling and A Plus Production, I think Jon Moxley is going to win the match between himself and Hangman.
Bingo bongo. Lots of things that I want to happen. Lots of things that I think should happen. Here's the comic book of All In, Jay. Write your story. But what is going to happen is Jon Moxley is going to keep that title. Hangman is going to get more depressed, sad cowboy, more storyline. All three of these guys that can't try, like, I'm no longer a contender, and the other two can't the challenge for the title. And they've already said the unified title is going to be a new world title. And like, I don't know. And like, it would be easy to slip it in because we haven't seen the AEW world title in so long in this damn briefcase. And like I was saying, people behind the scenes of AEW, they think the Death Riders are working. They don't think that it's bad. They think it's great and they love it. And I think it could have been great, but I don't think that it is great.
There you go.
I don't even think it's good.
There you go. Join the conversation, facebook.com, and search for A Plus Productions. Tell us your thoughts, your predictions for AEW All In this coming Saturday. All right, Hutch, we're going to be taking a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking counter-programming, Saturday night's main event, NXT Great American Bash, and Evolution 2, and the lack thereof build-up. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Coming up here on KPHR, and you're listening to A Plus Wrestling.
Are you ready to embrace the dark side? Introducing the Bring Bad News to the Dark Side Season 7 Unisex Tee from the exclusive official Bad News Allen Canadian Collection. Now on sale at WrestlingSuperstars.shop. Don't be a spineless cockroach. Grab yours today before they're gone. Head to WrestlingSuperstars.shop now.
And we are back here on A Plus Wrestling here on KPHR, and we have a slew of shows still to talk about in WWE land. We have Saturday night's main event, we have NXT Great American Bash, and we have Evolution 2, and all of that, it needs to happen in about 10-11 minutes. So Hutch, we gotta go a turbo on this, but before we do that, as we famously love to do, veering off the road, and I want to talk to you about this whole counter-programming situation. You know, WWE, TKO. I'm not even going to say WWE anymore. TKO loves to counter-program AEW because, you know, they're not real competition, but clearly, you know, it is what it is. Do you think that this counter-programming can hurt WWE?
Only because of the corporate sentiment. WWE can only hurt itself right now.
Yes.
It's becoming the beast. It's becoming bloated. They're the new show that's talking about the writing crew, all this stuff, counter programming, the inability to properly book Evolution because of the bloat and because of the speed and because of having to counter program and all this stuff. They will shoot themselves in the foot. So is the counter programming going to hurt them? No. Is the underlying disease that is the cause of the counter programming as well as other problems with WWE, will that hurt them? Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then there's
the
whole human mentality sentiment. Again, word of the day, sentiment. Corporate America isn't the most loved right now, and you know the whole TKO situation. I think that hurts them as well a little bit. So when they, quote unquote, kick and hurt the little guy, a lot of people get angry, right? I think that's also hurting them. The fan sentiment, the optics of things, as I like to say, don't look good for WWE and TKO sometimes. But that is that. We're here to talk some matches. Saturday night's main event, we have Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton.
I think since we don't have a lot of time, I think Drew is going to win this. Drew's going to come back. He's going to cheat to win. Cody might be involved. Randy's going to lose most likely because he can lose. In 3 weeks, they're probably going to rematch at SummerSlam or something like that. So I think he's going to lose. He can lose. It's going to add to his heel turn and his resentment against Cody and others. I think they might rematch or have something to do at SummerSlam with the two of them as well. That might lead to Randy getting involved, maybe causing Cody a loss. Who knows what's going to go on with Cena and Cody and that. But there, my answer is straight. Since we don't have a lot of time, I think Drew's going to win. There's a lot more to say, but we don't have the time.
He needs to win. I think Drew McIntyre needs this win. He loses too many big matches. I know he gets those wins on those other shows, but he loses too many of these big matches, and this is his to win. With his return, I think it's time. Let's go, Drew. Seth Rollins has an interesting week. In just a few minutes on Raw, he is going up against Penta, and on Saturday, he's going up against LA Knight.
I think LA Knight this weekend, we're going to see interference. I think this is going to be one of the two big interference matches. And I think Seth is going to come out on top in some fashion. I wish we had a lot more time to talk. I wasn't sure when we did this if we always did a tight hour, but now that I know, I'll try not to be so loquacious during our first portions. I thought maybe, since it's just me and him, we'll go a little longer today, but I realize you've got your schedule. So I think that Seth is going to win. I think we're looking at interference, and I think there could be, it could go deeper. There could be more with the ending that leads LA Knight to be involved some more. And if it is LA Knight, it'll be like a shock win, because of the interference. There's still going to be interference, but it might, they might slip on a banana peel and LA Knight might get the win because of it. But that's where we're going.
That's exactly it, right? I think that this match is going to be just a huge, just fast. A lot of things are going to be happening. If people like to use the term overbooked, and I think that this match will be an overbooked match. Just look at the end of Night Champions. Look at the ending of Raw this past week, or last week, I should say. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen, right? But yes, I think LA Knight can win. I think he should win. I think he needs to win. Nothing hurts Seth Rollins right now as he holds the briefcase. All right, and then for the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther taking on Goldberg.
I don't think that we need to overthink this. I'm a Goldberg fan. I was a Goldberg fan. I mean, at the time, he was Goldberg. He was what he was at that time period. The Attitude Era was fun. Nostalgia-wise, people look back on it with rose-colored glasses. But Stone Cold it seemed like it was always The Rock and Triple H facing each other at nauseum to no end. There was times where I was like, "What's going on?" But Goldberg was there doing his spear, doing his thing. And when I put on those rose-colored glasses, I'm like, "Oh yeah, Goldberg. I love him, and I love that he's back now." I don't like that he has liver spots. I don't like that he kind of limps a little bit. But I don't think we need to overthink this. We're talking quick match, spear, comeback, shine, try and get the jackhammer. If he can get the jackhammer, that's a great social media thing, and then the kick out of the jackhammer, like, oh my God, nobody does that. And Gunther chops him down and Gunther wins. Let's give him his stuff. Let's give us what we want. Quick in and out. There's a lot of matches on this 2-hour Saturday night's main event. Like, is that what it is?
Yep.
Are we looking at, is there an AJ Dom match? Is there other stuff going on? Isn't there no?
So right
I
now,
thought that was announced.
All announced is those 3 matches. I'm sure that we will get AJ Dom announced on Raw in just a little bit, but right now, officially announced, only those 3 matches.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to get AJ Dom. I think you're going to get a Grande Americano match probably with the new Grande Americano. I hear that Jelly Roll is going to be there, and he's going to be involved in SummerSlam too. We got Jelly Roll coming into the WWE Hardcore, so of course you dip your Jelly Roll in your Grande Americano, right? So I think we're going to have some action maybe going on there. So yeah, but I don't think we need to overthink this Goldberg thing, man. Give us the hits, and then hit back hard. I don't think he's going anywhere with the title.
Into the sunset, because this is Bill Goldberg's last match. I also love the fact that Gunther only calls him Bill Goldberg like Bret Hart.
Yeah, that is very true. I think Gunther has some babyface capability there. If he's turned the right way, and to be made kind of like a smarmy James Bond type that we like. Like the Dean Martin type where you're like, hey, I kind of like this guy. I think he could be a good face. He has a little bit of humor. And I think that is exactly why he calls him Bill Goldberg like that, is literally a Bret Hart reference in some ways. But yeah, like I said, I'm a Goldberg fan. Give me what I want, man. Kick the shit out of him for a while and then let him have his comeback shine. Give us a spear, and goddamn us, give us a jackhammer. We know he can do it. The Undertaker thing was an anomaly, man. He was concussed, and the altitudes. People don't know what it's like to travel to Saudi. This is not easy on their bodies over there, and they never talk about it.
Exactly. All right, that is Saturday night's main event. Let's jump into Sunday NXT Great American Bash. 4 announced matches. I can see this being the final card. 3 announced matches and 1 segment. And the segment is going to be a contract signing for Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry versus Mike Santana for the TNA World Championship match happening at TNA Slammiversary. This still blows my mind. So here in the Great American Bash, we're seeing a contract signing for Impact's title.
Yeah, I mean, what timeline are we living in? I mean, it is pretty crazy. And I haven't been watching, man, I've watched a lot of TNA, man. Like we're talking 2012, like Eric Young, my boy, Eric Young, who I love, on a very personal level, as world champ, as their like fake pseudo Daniel Bryan. Like I've watched it all the way through the GFW days and LA Knight as Eli Drake, yep. Eli Drake. Yeah. I love it. So, and I've not been paying that much attention lately since they dumped D'Amore and started in with WWE. I have not been watching. I am not, it's kind of weird, and I'm not paying attention to NXT that much as of late either, which is surprising because I used to watch way too much wrestling, and those were 2 of the things I watched a lot of. But it's not the black and gold anymore, and it's not the new TNA Impact era. So I haven't been paying attention, but this is pretty fun, and I'm looking forward to it. If I was going to tune back in, it's because I hear Santana is doing great things. I'm all about Mike Santana, baby.
beautiful work.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that he's finally getting his flowers in the wrestling world, right? He's not the other guy in LAX, right? Like he's finally.
And so, like I said, if I tune in, I'm going to be tuning in to see Mike. That's the reason that they'll pull me back in. They're doing this guy right, and he deserves it. And like I've seen him on the Indies, we've booked him all the way back in the EYFBO days. And the fact that from what I hear, because I've not seen, I have seen some promos, and he's got fire. He's got that fire, baby.
He's got passion.
But from what I hear, he's the best thing on these shows. And facing Trick Williams and being on NXT TV, I hear he's tearing it up. So I would tune back in for that. So they've done a good job to pull a guy like me back in.
There we go. We have JC Jane and Fallon Henley versus Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. I don't know why, but I think Blake Monroe, formerly Mariah May, is turning on Jordan Grace in this match.
Really? Okay. See, like I said, I haven't been watching. When you just said the names there, I thought, maybe Monroe getting the win in the match. Because I think, is it JC Jane against Jordan Grace for Evolution? Like one-on-one?
I believe we're going to talk about that in a second. Gotta open up.
Yeah. So what I mean is, I think that I think Grace is going to take the title, and I think that leaves Mariah May to be able to look at her and be like, you and me, we're next. So you might be right. Maybe the turn tonight, or maybe something, I don't know. It might have something to go back into the very next night. Remember, they've got shows back to back. I think they might have something to do with each other. Let's put it that way. So I don't know. I haven't been watching, but I know the way that I would book it.
Exactly. And WWE, especially, two shows so close together, makes sense to have that byline, connect them, because, it is all in canon.
Is somebody going to screw somebody over? Is JC Jane going to keep the title because of something that happened this night? Or if something that happens this night makes Mariah May turn on her the next night, or maybe she comes down to because JC Jane, she's got a faction, right? How many people she have with her now? One or two? Is it like that? It's a 3-person faction. Yeah. So, dude, we've got the interference faction. You got Mariah May running down, or whatever her name is now, running down to help. And maybe the turn then, and now she's the new leader of that faction, or maybe, I don't know, JC Jane, who knows? But I guarantee something's going to happen between the two nights and between the two people. If it's not on NXT, it might be the next night. Perhaps you're right. But I haven't actually been watching that much.
We have Sol Ruca versus Izzy Dame for the NXT Women's North American Championship. This match could be the sleeper match of the night. I think Sol Ruca is going to retain. Boom, done.
Yeah, I like Sol Ruca, so yeah, let's do it. I agree.
Here's a meaty match for the NXT Championship. Obafemi versus Yoshiki Inamura.
Wow, that'll be fun. I might want to tune in for that match. I don't think they're going to give it to Yoshiki, but I think they're going to shine him up big in this match, and it'll be like, this guy could have done it, But I think they really like Obafemi as champ.
They do. And he's going to get that proverbial rocket strapped to him. He already has it, but it's going to continue.
Okay. I'm waiting for you to tell me about the Ethan Page match. Is there no Ethan Page match on this card?
No, not right now.
Bloody hell. All right, well, we still have another week. That's what you're saying? We got Tuesday for them to put him on it?
Tuesday. Yeah, exactly. We still have a whole week of TV before the card is finalized. All right, let's jump to Evolution 2 real quick. We talked about it at the top of this segment, talking about the lack of build for Evolution 2. And Triple H has been getting some criticism to his women's division. And the optics of this, and the counter programming to All In, and the fastness and the hasteness of this buildup, and then you had the freak accident with Liv's shoulder injury. Man, this card just taking a beating, but on paper it looks fine.
This is the most counter programming of the shows. I think it was supposed to take place at a different venue on a different week, and they moved it to this week. So I think it's a major part of the counter programming you're talking about, and this is almost proof of it. People don't talk about the fact that the first Evolution did not do well. It was without a doubt the worst show of the year, and it was worse buy rates. That people were comparing it to some of the worst shows ever. So I don't think they expected a lot out of it. And they do have a huge division, and I think they were just looking for something to put out there. I think they have content obligations to people. But yeah, they could have done better. They darn well could have done better. And you're right, the Live thing has thrown them for a loop. A lot of people are going to say they're sabotaging it, with the Beyonce concert and hotels being sold out. And, we don't have a lot of time in this segment to get really into it, but I don't know. This show is just weird. Does this show need to happen? Like
I
it
think
just
it needs to
seems
happen.
odd and out of place.
I think it needs to happen. I think the timing is wrong for it, and that's my issue with it. I feel like it just got shoehorned in the middle of the SummerSlam build, and it just feels awkward. It feels like one of those non-canon shows, but here we are. It is a canon show. Evolution
All right.
2.
Well, hey, we don't have a lot of time, so let me give you a rundown of all the matches and what I think is going to go on. I think Jordynne Grace is going to win the title only because I think there's a lot of opportunity for not to win the title and shenanigans to happen, but I think they want title changes to happen. So I think she's going to win that title and it'll be a big deal. I think that the other two main titles...
Wait 1 second. With that NXT Women's Championship match, the winner of this match faces Masha Slamovich at Slammiversary.
Well, there you go. There's another reason for them to put Jordynne Grace in there because that's going to be a hell of a match, and that's what TNA is going to want because she's big over there. So you've got that. I don't think that the two main championship matches, I don't think you're going to see victories. People that say that the reason Trish Stratus is getting a title shot out of nowhere, if you're complaining about Bill Goldberg, then you should be complaining about Trish Stratus. But I think this is very obviously like a thank you and like you deserve it and like you helped me out at WrestleMania and like in the past here and blah, blah, blah. So, but I don't think she's going to win the title. They'll put on a good showing. I don't think that Rhea Ripley's going to win the title. I think it's going to be whatever ends up happening. Could be a million different reasons. Could be, double count out, disqualifications, whatever. I just don't think she's going to win the title. Io's going to leave with that belt. As far as the tag team titles, the 4-way match, I think they are perhaps going to put the titles on Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, unless it's going to be some kind of screw around thing, where they end up hating each other and start feuding.
Yeah, the only reason I can see Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez winning is to continue the whole I'm replacing Liv Morgan feeling that's going on Raw right now.
Yeah, but they love to use the women's championship as a reason for people to have a connection. They could easily lose the title a few weeks later to the same duo, or even the next night. They did it night,
like we saw at WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that could easily happen, and that even gives more validity to Roxanne Perez being the tag champion because she actually won the title in a match, and it could be her that wins it. Anyways, bottom line is I think they're going to lose that match. I think if Dom does get a match against AJ, he might possibly lose. I think they're going to lose all the titles, and it gives Finn and, I don't know, the Judgment Day's got a lot of meat on the bone here, but I think that they're going to put those titles on Bliss and Flair. That's going to be your other title change. I don't think anything else is going to change. And as far as this Battle Royal, I guess now that it's all been thrown to shit, I don't know if there's a prize at the end of it. You got a Nikki Bella. Who else do you got coming back? Not too many people. Maybe Nikki's going to win as a prize for not having her lose match.
The hook there is a women's championship match, clash in Paris. So who knows, right? Yeah.
Really? Of any belt you want, or the world title?
The world...
Okay, I mean, I don't really know. There might be a surprise return. Could be like an Asuka kind of thing, but I don't know. But yeah, it seems like this whole event has not been that important, right? That's what you were getting at.
We have Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no-holds-barred match. I can see Naomi.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, right? It seems early for this. See, to me, this is a match that should take place at SummerSlam, if at all, at the earliest.
And in a no-holds-barred match, okay, first of all, I don't really approve of, too many women hardcore matches. Women do not have the body weight to go through tables. They're not designed for this kind of thing in a lot of ways. So I think it needs to be a special thing. And you need to be a very good worker. You need to be like a top tier female worker to pull off these kind of matches. Charlotte Flair has had hella matches where she's bleeding at the end and beaten up to shit, and they have been awesome matches. You want to go back to Mania with Rhea and Charlotte? Bam! Those gals could pull off hardcore stipulation. I do not think that these two ladies can. I don't think it's going to be a very good match, and I don't think this match needs to happen. I think Jade needs to win her title at SummerSlam and lose it to Naomi right away. They can call her a former champ. They can screw her over. She can have her moment, and then Naomi can drag her along, and they can do some stuff. You can bring Bianca in, and maybe Bianca can get some good matches out of her. If you listen to the last podcast, I'm not a Jade Cargill fan. Okay, I don't need that. I don't think this match should be happening.
There you go. And that is Evolution 2. Hutch, thank you so much for joining me. And it is time for us to call it a week. And again, none of this here on A Plus Wrestling, here on KPHR, wouldn't be possible without our amazing tag team partners such as T.O. Boat Tours, Ontario's premier boat tour experience. All you need to do is go to toboattours.com.
I do TO boat tours. I've been on the TO boat tour, and they're pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly. The great time. All right, here we are on KPHR. You can find us on aplusproductions.com or on all of the social medias at A Plus Productions. You can find us on any podcasting platform. All you need to do is search for A Plus Productions, and if you really just want to listen to only the wrestling shows, just go to A Plus Wrestling. Hit that subscribe, leave a review. We have a jam-packed weekend for you coming up. We'll talk about how we're going to talk about things and review all the shows over on the Facebook group. So if you want to be part of the conversation, go to facebook.com and search for A Plus Productions on behalf of the entire A Plus Wrestling team. And with Hutch, I'm Boris. Thank you so much for listening, but most importantly, stay tranquilo.